Hi, my name is Karen Shea and I'm a pediatric epileptologist. An epileptologist is a neurologist, a brain doctor who's done extra training in seizures and epilepsy. And pediatric means that I focus on kids. So I'm a kids epilepsy doctor. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about seizures. What is a seizure? So normally each part of the brain has its own little job to do. So the part that's controlling your walking is taking care of that. The part that's thinking about what you got to do today is doing that. The part that's feeling the breeze in your face is feeling that. And what happens during a seizure is that too much of the brain starts doing the same thing at the same time. So it's defined as increased abnormal activity that's synchronized in the brain. And it can be in just a part of the brain, which is a focal seizure, or it can be on both sides of the brain, which is a generalized seizure. And I kind of compare seizures to like when you're in a stadium and people start doing the wave. So if you're in a stadium and you look around, there are some people who are watching the game, there's some people who are like talking to their neighbor, there's some people who are on their phones, some people are eating hot dogs, and then let's say one section of the stadium people start doing the wave. Two things can happen. One is that it just kind of builds up a little bit and then dies out. So that's like a focal seizure that's just in one part of the brain. But it can also start and then catch on and go all the way around the stadium. And that's like a generalized seizure. So it's increased abnormal synchronized activity in the brain. What seizures look like on the outside depends on what part of the brain is involved. So, for example, the back of your brain has to do with processing what you see. And if you have a seizure that's back there, you might see flashing lights or colors, and you can be like, wow, that's kind of strange. But you're completely aware, and as long as the seizure stays in that area, people would never know that you were having a seizure. You can have seizures that just affect your thinking. So some seizures that are on the side of your brain, in the temporal lobe, can cause like a sensation of deja vu. And it doesn't mean that every time you feel a sense of deja vu that it's a seizure, but seizures can present that way. You can have seizures that alter your awareness of what's going on around you. So with these seizures, you might just be staring or kind of look around, but if somebody like calls your name, you might look at them, but you don't respond because you're just not aware of what's going on. And then the seizures that we see on TV are seizures that are involving the motor strip. So the motor strip is the part of the brain that controls our motions. And with these seizures, you're going to have kind of the rhythmic jerking movements. And if the seizure's just on one side of the brain, then you'll just be jerking on the opposite side. But if it's on both sides of the brain, that's when you have kind of the grand mal seizures, which we call generalized tonic-clonic. Generalized because it's on both sides of the brain, and tonic-clonic just describes the movements. So that's a little bit about seizures today. I hope it was helpful, and I'll talk more in other videos about what causes seizures and what's the difference between seizures and epilepsy. So hope to see you there.